Turn directly toward the approaching darkness without prejudice and totally naively. Try to find out what its secret aim is and what it wants from you. The hidden purpose of the oncoming darkness is generally something so unusual, so unique and unexpected, that as a rule one can find out what it is only by means of dreams and fantasies welling up from the unconscious. If one focuses attention on the unconscious without rash assumptions or emotional rejection, it often breaks through in a flow of helpful symbolic images. The hero is the man or woman who has been able to battle past his personal and local limitations to the generally valid, normally human forms. The hero has died as a modern man, but as eternal man, universal man, he has been reborn. You have got to own your days and name them, every one of them, or else the years go right by and none of them belong to you. It is easier to sail many thousands of miles through cold and storm and cannibals in a government ship with 500 men and boys to assist one than it is to explore the private sea, the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean of one's being alone. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror, I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Nothing determines who we will become so much as those things we choose to ignore. We have not to risk the adventure alone, for the heroes of all time have gone before us. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. We have only to follow the thread of the hero path, and where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. Where we had thought to travel outward, we shall come to the center of our own existence. Where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world. The hero must venture forth from the world of common sense consciousness into a region of supernatural wonder. There he encounters fabulous forces, demons and angels, dragons and helping spirits. After a fierce battle, he wins a decisive victory over the powers of darkness. Then he returns from his mysterious adventure with the gift of knowledge, or fire, which he bestows on his fellow man. Perhaps a stable order can only be established on earth if man always remains acutely conscious that his condition is that of a traveler. It is of the soul and of the soul alone that we can say with supreme truth that being necessarily means being on the way en route. Pure logical thinking cannot yield us any knowledge and ends in it. Propositions arrived at by purely logical means are completely empty of reality. The challenge is to learn to respond immediately to whatever it is time for. Suffering is the path of consciousness, and by it, living beings arrive at the possession of self-consciousness. For to possess consciousness of oneself, to possess personality, is to know oneself, and to feel oneself distinct from other beings. And this feeling of distinction is only reached through an act of collision, through suffering, through the sense of one's own limits. If we could read the secret history of our enemies, we should find in each man's life sorrow and suffering enough to disarm all hostility. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. When you come to the edge of all you know, you must believe one of two things. There will be earth to stand on, or you will be given wings to fly. I have come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess tremendous power to make miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person is humanized or dehumanized. If we treat people as they are, we make them worse. If we treat people as they ought to be, we help them become what they are capable of becoming. Above all, we need to be taught more affection for the infirmities of life. Both artist and lover know that perfection is not lovable. This is a common theme in the folklore of Arabian Nights. Where you stumble and fall, there you find the gold. Believe that life is worth living, and your belief will create the fact. Be not afraid to live. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is like a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Grace strikes us when we are in great pain and restlessness. It strikes us when our disgust for our own being, our weakness, our hostility, and our lack of direction and composure have become intolerable to us. It strikes us when the longed-for perfection of life does not appear, when the old compulsions reign with us, as they have for decades. Sometimes at that moment, a wave of light breaks into our darkness, and it is as though a voice were saying, "You are accepted." We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of our exploring will be to arrive where we started, and know the place for the first time. When the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning, at the source of the longest river, the voice of the hidden waterfall. Stare deep into the world before you as if it were the void. Innumerable holy ghosts, Buddhas, and Savior gods there hide, smiling. All the atoms emitting light inside wavehood. There is no personal separation of it. A hummingbird can come into a house and a hawk will not, so rest assured. While looking for the light, you may suddenly be devoured by the darkness and find the true light. Thank you for your valuable time. If you enjoy the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.